And if we don't change what we do, we will simply not be global relevant. What we will absolutely need to do is tear down the boundaries between our research organisations and work together to form national precincts of global critical mass, 10,000 researchers and students, combined annual investment of over $1 billion of all of the partners working together, precincts that have the kind of gravity we need to attract the brightest and best. And it doesn't matter if they come to CSIRO, a university, the Bureau or another institute. What matters is that they come to this country. And if we all work together, we can create that kind of gravity to attract the brightest and best and hold them here. But it will require us to think differently. These precincts will require, as I said, investment of around $1 billion. That's an order of magnitude above the thinking that we currently have. We think the nation can only really have 5 of them in our areas of strength, and we must get behind them. Environment and ecology in Brisbane, the human life sciences in our Parkville area in Melbourne, resource geosciences and space out of Perth, our plant and ecosystem science out of Canberra, our herbarium, our national investment, green chemistry, material science and energy around Clayton, Monash University and in Melbourne, and Sydney. I'm conscious that I'm here in New South Wales, has an opportunity, as yet unrealised opportunity, to build a globally significant informations communications precinct in this city. And even Adelaide is emerging as a centre for preventative health. So just as I conclude and let you get on with eating your dinner, I did want to show that science is central to addressing some of the significant issues that face this nation. The issues like our energy options, understanding our climate change, managing our water usage nationally, but also that Australia has a major contribution to make globally in these issues. That not only that science will contribute to our challenges, but it will underpin new opportunities. The world is shifting from a position where the basic resources like food, water, energy, even our marine life, our mineral resources were abundant, and it's shifting to a world where resources will be constrained. We need to be very, very, very smart to compete. We'll need to build smart cities, cities that integrate our design, water usage, energy usage, our own health and well-being, our communications. We'll need to be very smart about the way we adapt to that future. There will be new opportunities in our services sector. We'll see that in environmental services, climate services, waste and water. But addressing some of these challenges and capitalising on these opportunities will require major shifts in the way we do science and the way we invest nationally. We absolutely stand ready at CSIRO to help work through our whole innovation system and with our partners to make those changes so that we remain globally relevant. I hope you agree that there will be an increasing importance of science in helping Australia take its place in the world, and it will be key to gaining insight and understanding some of the unique opportunities and challenges that we face in this nation as well as the globe. Thank you, Stephen.
Well, Megan, thank you very much for that very rich lecture. You've certainly motivated me to look very carefully at the shirts that my staff wear and think about their salary packages in relation to that. Look, like all rich lectures, Dr. Clark has given us an enormous amount of information, but she's also raised a great number of questions in my mind. And so, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sure she's done the same for a lot of you. I would encourage you to enjoy your main course and also take the opportunity to write down some questions that I can ask Dr. Clark after you've had your main course. Thanks very much. In your lecture, you talked about science and technology as essentially an internationally collaborative enterprise. Yep. Collaborations between us and the Chinese and the Europeans and others. But isn't there an element of science and technology that is competitive, that in which we seek to compete with other countries to be the best, to lead the world in certain things, And then it becomes even more competitive when we think about intellectual property, allegations that are traded between countries about theft and spying on key and sensitive technologies. Isn't there a competitive element to what we've been talking about tonight?
I was nervous for the speech, but I'm even more nervous for these questions, I can tell you. And there's certainly various layers, you're absolutely right. So when we look at the sort of lowest level of collecting our information, as I mentioned, sort of global observation networks, we absolutely will collaborate in some of those areas. At the same time, when we're trying to develop globally competitive intellectual property, we won't even talk about what we do at conferences, because until we've protected that, until we've protected it for the nation, then we have to be really careful about that. So that's the dilemma that the science and scientist teams, what it requires in each of the organisations, such as ours, is an emerging maturity and capability in our commercial and legal understanding. We didn't have that as a nation back in the 70s. In fact, we just didn't have a suite of people who'd been experienced. Even tonight, we've got our head of commercial, one of our lawyers, actually a couple of our lawyers are here. We didn't have these young people 20 years ago who were experienced, who were used to playing with the big teams globally, who were used to competing. Some of our legal teams have had to tough it out with the legal teams of Intel and Microsoft, and that's what experience really feels like. So what all of our organisations need and what Australia needs is that maturity. We're now starting to get that, and that helps you navigate through what are you sharing, what is open, what are you protecting, and making sure it's well written. I think the best example is, as you know, I mentioned the wireless LAN. Australia invented that technology, and we've now licensed it to around half of the laptop makers. I hope you're not using the laptops of the other ones. Dell's fine. Microsoft is okay. Apple's not. And the work that our teams had to do to secure that, and you go back and look at how we're even successful. The fellow who wrote the patent in Sydney, a most humble individual, when I met him, and I said, I could kiss your feet that you wrote the best patent we've ever had, and he actually said, I don't mind if someone kisses my feet. Completely took it out of context. But there was this, so a lot of things, have to line up. The patent has to be written well, the way it's managed, the way the information is released in the public arena. So we do need to mature, and I can say we are maturing as a country, and we've got a great cadre of young people and young commercial people who are bringing that together. This will absolutely need to go hand in hand with a real requirement for the sharing of knowledge, open sharing and open access, and it is a really tough balance, and we're working through that. So all I can say is if you don't have a good commercial and legal team, you don't have any hope at all. But we will need to navigate through that, and I think the public will be requiring deeper access to the raw data, our raw climate information. So there'll be a real pull on that side as well for open access and how we do that. So it is the world. I haven't given you an answer. I just explained how difficult it is to navigate through that area. So,
I guess the follow-up question is, you're obviously an organisation with a finite budget and a finite number of people who can work on things. How do you as an organisation prioritise what you work on, what you think Australia can be a global leader in, and what you think your organisation needs to work on for the country's future?
It is very important for an organisation like CSIRO that has also committed to focusing on the national challenges and opportunities. So in our flagships, for example, let me just take one example, our Wealth from Oceans can bring together all of the scientists available in our organisation, plus scientists and researchers outside CSIRO, to focus on some of the major issues of our ocean systems and our development of them. That